first snow of the season.
Yeah.
Hi, Nitty friends.
Hello, Nitty friends. I'm watching the road.
She's watching the road, but she's gonna talk. This is our carpool karaoke, but we don't know the words to any songs because we're on our way to
Stowe, Vermont.
Yes.
Yeah, and we're going to the Von Trapp Family Lodge to have a knitting
The
retreat.
hills are alive.
With the sound of music.
Anyway, we're going with Donna Druchunas.
And in Tarja Knits, but I don't know her real name, but she wrote she published a book about Intarsia, and she calls it in
Because she has a new technique that we are going to learn and share with you.
yeah. So I'm excited. Donna's teaching Virile, which I already know, obviously, but anyway.
But I think she's teaching it within this new method.
Well, the Intarsia, they're going to teach us Intarsia in the round.
Ah,
Which is
I'm
the
so
new.
excited. I'm so excited.
And-
but what we discovered is that on our way up to Stowe, Vermont,
It just happens to be.
just happens to be
We might have to stop for lunch in this town.
in Northampton,
Massachusetts.
Webb's bonus.
We needed some extra needles, right, Sandy?
Always, yes.
Yes.
Need something.
I know.
Anyway, it's good to see you.
It's freezing, it's snowy, and the leaves are gone. But
And we
we're
were
happy.
expecting this beautiful fall getaway. In fact, it's booked as a fall getaway. But
It
I
is.
packed my winter boots. How about you?
I just brought one pair. I figured we won't be outside much, so I just brought like my whatchamacallit.
Okay, here it goes. I'm getting ready for the season. Scarf.
Which one is that? I can't look
The
up.
one that I made in the ocean.
Oh, I like that pattern.
Scarf. I wish I remember the pattern, but I know that I've spoken to your friends about it before.
Ooh, copper.
Uh-oh.
It's a copper.
Mittens. Yep, it's that time of year.
I love those mittens.
These were crocheted from Pom Pom. I made these last year. Love these mittens. And
What
actually,
yarn did you use?
this was Madeline Tosh.
Okay. Is it
And-
warm? Because metal. Oh,
Well, they're really bulky from the type of pattern.
yeah.
And also, Amy and I had spent a lot of time looking for coordinating yarn so I can make a hat with these. But maybe I will learn a technique to make a matching hat.
So we're making hats as part of this class.
But meanwhile, I have my Jared Flood
I
hat.
have mine too, but it's in my bag.
And I am ready to go out in the snow.
Will you get my Jared Flood hat out of my bag in the back?
Oh, yep, we can say hi, Jared.
Put it on my head.
Okie doke.
Okay, now we match.
Now we match, and I hopefully later will be able to show you the differences in our gauge and how our hats are different. And now that I think about it, this hat does slip up my head, even though it fits nicely.
Really?
So, oh man, the road is getting a little slushy. Just
It's
realized
wet.
that.
It's definitely wet.
But anyway, we will talk to you later.
We'll touch base when we get to Webb's.
Ciao for now. Come on, people now. Smile on your brother, everybody get together. We are passing the Yankee Candle Outlet.
Ooh, Ben and Jerry's.
No, but not the Ben and Jerry's. Smile on your brother, everybody get together. Gotta love one another right now. Right now. Right now.
Left turn onto
No.
Yeah, we should take a selfie in front
Look
of the
what else
sign.
is right off the highway. It's our obligation and duty to stop by.
Yes, I obliged, Amy.
Maybe that's why I didn't get any
Worsted
worsted weight at Webb's.
Yes.
Hello. So it's me, Amy. I'm currently sitting on the deck of my room in Stowe, Vermont. I'm at the Trapp Family Lodge. And it's the checkout morning of the sheep to shawl knitting retreat that we had. Sandy and I both came, and the instructors were Donna Druchunas and Anne, I'm drawing a blank, but she's known for Anne Tarja. I didn't bring the books out with me. I guess I'll show them when I record again, but I just wanted to, while I was still here, talk about the weekend. I had wanted to do like little snippets throughout the weekend, but the days were long and full, and there really just wasn't the right time. So Sandy and I had a great time driving up here. She's actually in the room. She didn't feel like coming out and podcasting with me today, but I'm sure we'll podcast again soon. Anyway, we drove up Thursday morning. We left around 9:30, and we made some pit stops on the way up. It was really nice driving. The weather was awful. It was snow and then rain and then snow and then rain, and it was not good driving weather. Sometimes there wasn't very good visibility, but we did stop at Webb's, which was it's right on the way and right off the highway. So we stopped at Webb's, and honestly, I did get 2 skeins. They're actually still in the car, so I don't have them with me. And I got a couple of extra needles that we would need for the class, and I ended up not using them. So I feel like rotten that I bought these needles I don't need. And I probably won't use much either, because and I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I'll use them as a prize or something. I can't return them on the way home because Webb's is closed on Sundays, and that's just the way it goes. Let's see, and then we stopped at Green Mountain Spinnery. Those people, I'd like to stop there on the way home. Well, I know Sandy and I are going to take our time driving home, and we want to stop at various places. So I hope we can stop there again, and maybe they could give us a little tour. They let me take a picture of their little spinning room, but there was just the most beautiful feeling when you walked into their very small store, in their little office, just a really good vibe, if you will. So I did buy some yarn there. I wanted to buy some alpaca elegance so bad. I've knit with it before, and I eventually would like to do a sweater with it sometime soon. But I have a little bit at home still left over from a hat I knit, and I don't need more, so I refrained from that. I bought 3 different colors of a worsted weight, which I think would be great for some cool hats. So I was thinking I would use them for some of the Jared Flood hats that are in that the woolen book I bought from Jared Flood. And maybe I'll buy enough to make one of the shawls in that book. They have beautiful colors, and the yarn is really wonderful. Green Mountain Spinnery, great place. So we did that. We stopped at a towny diner, if you will. It wasn't one of those big off-the-highway diners. It was a small-town diner, very tiny, looked like a little trailer, and had a great meal, tomato soup and grilled cheese. It was so good. Sandy thought it was she had chili and grilled cheese, and she thought it was too spicy, but I thought it was perfect. It was really good tomato soup. Anyway, and then we continued driving till we got here, and by the time we got here, it was snowing heavy. They were predicting about 6 inches. They probably got 3 or 4, but essentially Friday we were kind of snowed in, and that was okay. We did the class Friday. They split us up into groups, and half of the group took Anne's class on Friday, and half the group took Donna's. I think I ripped out what I did during Donna's class. We practiced a special cast on. Let me see here. I have my little booklet from the retreat. For Donna. Okay, and Berk. Sorry, I forgot her name. All right. So for Donna, she taught us the Bulgarian cast on. It's a long tail decorative cast on, and it's one she uses in her Love is Love pie shawl. I kind of forgotten it, so it was a good refresher for me. I really appreciated, she also went through the Baltic braid, which you might be familiar with. I don't have a really good picture here because it's black and white, but you often see the Baltic braid in as like a decorative trim, and it really looks like a braid, and it's done by using pearls and how you wrap the yarn before you do your pearl. I had tried this once on a Romy Hills shawl. I don't recall the name, but it had a long braid in it, and I remember my yarn got so tangled that I just couldn't deal with it anymore, and I thought I'd never use it again. But what I learned, besides, you know, just a refresher on the technique, was it's really meant for smaller ranges, like maybe around your wrist for a mitten, or around, at the very most, around the edge of a hat. It's not meant to do for a long period of time because your yarn gets extremely twisted, and the more you go, the more twisted your yarn gets, and then when you do this, the third and final row, it untwists, and that's what really kind of messed me up, because when I was doing the shawl, it was such a long braid that the yarn got so twisted I couldn't even knit with it anymore, and I had to untwist it. So when I did the last row where the yarn's supposed to untwist from itself, it just twisted up again, and I just ripped that shawl out. So going forward, I will only use it for hats and whatnot. So, and then we did some Fair Isle, which I didn't really need, because I know Fair Isle very well. I've knit a lot of I've designed a Fair Isle cowl. But I did stay for it, and I did knit, and yeah, it was still good. What was really good for me was the Antarja class. Anne Berk developed a different technique for doing Antarja. She coined the phrase Antarja for it, and she has a book out, which I've packed already, but I might press pause and go get it, because Anne and Donna both donated a book for me to give away on the podcast. But anyway, Anne developed this a technique also for doing Intarsia in the round, and it's extremely ingenious. And I was one that felt that I would never really care to ever do anything that required Intarsia. And now I am very open to doing something with Intarsia, even in the round. What she had us start in class was a hat, and this was knit in the round. This is some leftover yarn that Sandy brought. I'm not going to finish this because, for one, the circumference is too small, and two, I don't think I'd wear it with this yarn. But it looks like a mess down here, but it's really kind of not that hard to manage as you might think. And she taught us how to clean up all the ends inside really well. So yes, you have to weave in ends, but if you're just doing an embellishment and not all these squares, which we did for the sake of practice, you're not going to have a lot of ends, as you may think. But here's what it looks like on the inside. And yeah, this is Intarsia in the round, and you can't even tell. Well, you can You can kind of tell right here is where the beginning of my round is, because it's a little loose down here where I joined in the round. But you can't tell that this is the beginning of the round. And well, the trick is basically you're kind of knitting in rows even though you're in the round, but it really is a great technique, and it opens up a lot of doors because you could do intarsia in the round now. So that was actually the second half of her class. The first half, and this I kept on the needles because I want to finish it, because I think this would be a great gift for the seniors for the senior level long. It's a hat. Excuse me, choking. It's a hat pattern, a little bag. I dropped one of my butterflies. She also recommends, instead of buying all those equipment for intarsia, to just make these little yarn butterflies. And in her book, she explains how to calculate how much yarn you'll need and whatnot. And she even tells you how much yarn to create the butterfly with for her pattern. So let me just get my butterflies out of the way. Okay, so these are all my pre-made butterflies. And the front of the bag will look something like this, in this little patchworky. Great for worsted weight scraps. You can make a bag as big as you want. This bag is not being knit in the round. It's a little rounded at the bottom. This bag will have a solid back in this color. And I will seam it together. Here's what it looks like on the back. You can see here's where some of our ends got woven in. How clean it looks. And I just can say it really was a pleasure. A little confounded at once, but Anne is an amazing teacher. She was great at getting across her concepts. And I definitely want to finish this, and I'm definitely going to make some patterns from her book, which she emphasizes patterns that are simple. So I got that. I also want to, everybody got a door prize. Everybody got a goodie bag and a door prize. Here is what I won during my door prize, is this bag with these 2 skeins of yarn and here's the pattern. Hold on, make it organized. Here's the pattern. It's one of Anne's hats, and I'm definitely going to make it. Yeah, so that was my door prize. I also got in my door prize a little Christmas ornament from the gift shop here in the lodge. So that was nice. And yeah, so that was basically it. We did that during the day, a couple hours in the morning and a couple hours at night. We also had kind of, they call it a tour, but you don't really tour anything. There's a movie room here, and they play The Sound of Music every night, and I did watch that. And then they play, we got a private session, the whole group, with one of the guides to the history of the Von Trapp family and this Stowe, Vermont lodge. And he talked about the history of the family, clarified things that are not true and true based on the movie, which a lot of the movie is accurate, but some things aren't. And I tell you the truth, I never realized it was even a true story until I came here. That's how ignorant I was. But that was really interesting. And then we watched this little clip where Maria Von Trapp, and that's the Julie Andrews character, after they flee Austria, they go to Italy, and then from Italy they contacted an agent in the United States saying, hey, we're the Von Trapp choir. They were already famous in Europe, and they said, can you book us work? Because they had nothing when they left. And he booked them tickets to cross the Atlantic, the Atlantic, and they came in New York, and that's how they made a living, by touring and singing. And they also had 3 more kids together before he died. I think in 1949 he died, the husband, and she died in 1987. But the movie shows her returning to Austria in I think it was 1982, with the oldest von Trapp's son, who was also pretty old at the time, and for the first time seeing their old home, which after the war, I guess during the war, Hitler used it as a headquarters, and because of that, they didn't really want to go back to it. And even though after, the Allies won the war, they officially gave it back to him, he also had no way to maintain it and pay taxes and whatnot. He lost his fortune during the Great Depression, so they had no money. I believe they lent it out to the church or monks or something to use as like a retreat center, and they collected enough rent on it to pay for the taxes and maintain it and whatnot. So that was good. But this time that they went back, it had been totally modernized and refurbished, and I think they eventually did sell it, but they rented it out up until after that. And it was very emotional to see her see it for the first time in this this film. So it was really worth it. And then afterwards, one of their granddaughters came and answered questions about the family. So she was like a great granddaughter of Maria and I want to say George, but that's not how you pronounce his name, von Trapp. Anyway, she answered some questions. The lodge that I'm staying at is still owned by the family, by the youngest child, Johannes. He was the youngest son of Maria and Gerhard, I think is how he says his name, but it looks like George when you read it. And he was the youngest. He was the only one born here in America. I think he's in his late 70s now, and he's her uncle. His oldest sister is her grandmother. But it was really, really wonderful. The stay was wonderful. The inn is beautiful. A little pricey, but and this is like the end of the peak season, so I think it's $300 a night during the fall, autumn peak season. This is not considered peak season, and I'm looking out, and pretty much the leaves are gone. But it was the crappiest weather weekend, and I'm so sad that I wasn't able to get a nice long walk in. They have walking trails all over the place. In the winter, they're cross-country skiing paths, and there were a couple of breweries I wanted to check out during the long lunches, but they ended up being closed on Friday and Saturday, which I guess is because the peak season's over. I don't know, but I thought that the strangest thing in a tourist city to close your brewery on a Friday and Saturday. They're open today, so Donna and I are planning on going there for lunch. Sandy and I. I'm thinking Donna Druchunas. And we're going to do a little more shopping on the way home. We're thinking of taking a detour to Burlington, because there's supposed to be a fantastic yarn store there. And like I said, I'd like to stop at Green Mountain Spinnery again and maybe get enough yarn to make one of Jared's wraps or hats from the book, because I think I like that better than his shelter, that yarn. And that's about it. That's like a nice rundown. There's a I'm going to show you. There's a hat they designed specifically for this specifically for this retreat. We didn't start the hat together during the retreat because we just did the learning projects. And I think I could show you kind of, there might be some pictures in here I can show you without giving anything away. They had very good instructions, and they're sending video links. But let me see if I can find a picture of the hat that they designed. Okay. Yeah. So, all right. There's the hat. It incorporates all the techniques we learned. It has a braid. It has that special cast on. It has stranded knitting, and it has some intarsia in the round. It's a little corny. I don't think I'll wear it. They gave us the yarn for it, and we're going to all do a knit along. I'm going to do it, if anything, just to reinforce the techniques I learned. Here's the lovely yarn we got to knit our hats with. It was part of the goodie bag. We're gonna, there's a group that they set up for this retreat, and we're all gonna knit this together, most of us anyway. And I want to point out that the in the pattern, if you look, see if I can get a picture of the fall one, because I think it stands out better. No, I don't think there's an image. Oh, here's the, oh, this is a great picture. So, there's the fall colored one, which is the one I'll be making. And those things, which I actually had mistaken for swans, they're musical notes. And the musical notes are actually doe, a deer, a female deer. It goes around the hat, and they're the actual musical notes for that song. I appreciate what they're trying to do, but I don't think it's a hat I would wear. I might donate it to Hats for Granny, which is a silly fruit thing, but we'll see. So anyway, I think that's about it for now. I'll be back again, hopefully with Sandy. Can't promise, but at least to talk about the books they wrote and to show you my whips. So let me press pause and give you a little bit of the view again. Okay, so here's the view from where my deck. There's the main entrance. You can see it's been super foggy. There's the fog, and the trees are a bit bare, but it's still beautiful up here, and I'm dying so much to go for a walk, so we're gonna pack up the car and go for a walk on the trail, and then we'll go into town and have lunch and then hit the road. So farewell everyone, goodbye from Stowe, Vermont, and I will talk to you soon. All right, so we're doing a little walk. Say hi, Sandy.
Hi, knitty friends.
So this is the first day we've had no rain, and it's the day we have to leave. So we're just doing a little walk down the road. The lodge is back that way. We just checked out, and there's a little store there. And this appears to be some kind of garden. Anyway, it's really nice. Dirt road. Just gonna see where it leads us. All I can say is I can only imagine what this looks like during peak season. It's beautiful now, though, even with the fog. Here's where they do the horse-drawn rides. There's the carriage.